Good evening and welcome to eNews. I'm Shahan Ramkisoon. It's great to have you with us. Our top stories tonight. A crackdown on KwaZulu-Natal's roads and beaches as thousands go to the coast this festive season. Edcon restructures to save around 140,000 jobs. This is our top story. The death toll on KwaZulu-Natal's roads now stands at 70 since the start of the festive season. One major crash a week ago left 15 people dead near Richards Bay. Tuba Vilane has been monitoring traffic at the Marion Hill Toll Plaza.
Over 1,400 vehicles an hour passing through the Marion Hill Toll Plaza. Most of them headed here to join thousands of others already enjoying themselves on the Durban beaches.
I like all the visitors to come to Durban because this is the Golden Mile and all the facilities are here. There's sufficient parking. We had no problems at all coming in and the beach is nice.
Just came to enjoy the day, I got a day off work as well, so I said, why not come to the beach, you know? All is great here.
Over 25,000 police officers have been deployed across KwaZulu-Natal, but they already have their hands full with the number of fatalities on the province's road.
We have deployed more than 25,000 police on the streets, inclusive of traffic, inclusive of RTI, inclusive of municipal traffic officials. And those are to make sure that we are visible. Those are to make sure that we deal decisively with any form of transgression.
A common problem has been public drinking around the city of Durban. Police warn that those caught doing so face fines of up to 2,500 rand.
They complained about they were being harassed by the Metro Police because they were drinking in public. There is a law and there's a bylaw in place for drinking in public. And the fine and the admission of guilt is 2,500 rand if you're caught drinking in public.
Police have vowed zero tolerance on the roads and public spaces and will intensify their safety campaign as more visitors descend on KwaZulu-Natal. Tuba Vilane, Durban.
Now, despite a heavy police presence, road accidents have already claimed a number of lives on the N1 to Polokwane as well. Maloko Maloto filed this report from Limpopo's Kranskop Toll Plaza.
The visibility of the police and the traffic officers is very high, but I must indicate that 2 days back we were informed that there was a fatal accident that claimed the lives of 12 people on the N1 in the Western Cape. And also on Friday night along this particular stretch of road on the N1 leading to Polokwane, there was a motorist. We were told he wanted to overtake. In fact, he overtook using the oncoming lane, as a result colliding head-on with an oncoming vehicle and killing 3 people instantly. The similar incident happened just last night on the very same N1 road towards Polokwane, wherein the driver of a Toyota Fortuner, apparently there was a tire burst. He lost control of the vehicle. It then veered off the road, colliding with a 22-seater minibus taxi, killing 3 people as well instantly. Among those who died was the driver of the minibus taxi. And the rest of the people were taken to hospital, some of them airlifted.
Residents of Bo-Kaap are celebrating after a visit to the famous Cape Town suburb. Arts and Culture Minister Nathi Mthethwa is promising to speed up the process to declare it a National Heritage Site. Nadine Tharwan reports.
After a troublesome 2018 dominated by clashes with property developers, there's some good news for the Bo-Kaap community. Arts and Culture Minister Nathi Mthethwa has promised to finally have the iconic Cape Town neighbourhood declared a National Heritage Site.
We are with them all the way to the declaration. We'll finalize the process of national declaration, but we want to take a step further and take it up to UNESCO for international recognition.
Mthethwa visited some of the important sites in Bo-Kaap, including the oldest mosque in South Africa, Oval Mosque, as well as the historic graveyard, Tana Baru. That's where many of the country's first Islamic leaders like Tuan Guru are buried. His 93-year-old descendant, Abdaya da Costa, has spent her entire life in the same house, just 3 doors down from the historic mosque he helped establish.
I must tell you, I'm very, very excited about that, because now it's been confirmed. We were always worried what is going to happen to Burkab. I mean, people have come already and offered me millions for my house, which I have refused.
Da Costa says her dying wish is for her house to stay preserved as a heritage site. Tomorrow, the fight for the Burkab's world-famous heritage will continue in the Western Cape High Court. The community will be opposing an interdict brought by developers Block. The construction company wants to build a high-rise building in the suburbs. Nadine Theron, Cape Town.
The forced removal of District 6 residents in Cape Town is remembered to this day as one of the most painful acts by the apartheid government. But residents have decided to reach out and forgive. Dozens of Cape Townians from all walks of life marched for reconciliation. Lester Kivett has this story.
A walk in silence to remember and to forgive. People from different religious faiths walk to remember the history of District 6. Christians, Muslims and Jews stop at churches and mosques in the area and start a dialogue to heal the wounds of the past.
District 6 was a mix, a true mix of many colors and groups of people. And I think that is the image that many people still have in their minds when they think of District 6. We cannot recreate it, we cannot bring it back, but we can create something of that again.
Organisers say recent debates on issues like land expropriation without compensation are necessary discussions because it allows South Africans to confront the legacy of apartheid.
Belonging somewhere is very important, and knowing where you come from, where your ancestry come from, it's very important for everyone to recognize that and to be recognized as such, that this is where we were, this is where we are, this is where we want to be. And I think everybody needs that.
Former District 6 beneficiaries say while they're ready to forgive the injustices of the past, they're still longing for land restitution that will allow them to rebuild their homes demolished half a century ago. Lester Kivett, Cape Town.
A steel construction company is in the spotlight tonight. Several of SA Megastructure's clients are questioning whether the business is nothing more than a scam. eNews tracked down several disillusioned customers who have paid hundreds of thousands of rand in deposits with almost nothing to show months later. Michael Apple takes a look.
SA Megastructures, or just mega fraud. Jack Steyn is one of many customers who lost over 100,000 rand paying for what he thought was a steal of a deal.
On the 21st of June, we accepted the quotation. We paid them a deposit of 160,000 rand.
That was to build a warehouse. It was almost 6 months ago. As you can see, there's no structure to speak of. The steel lying here was bought by Steyn himself at an additional cost, even though the company is contractually obligated to provide all the material. They even offer free delivery and erection. That's if you can get them to deliver in the first place. The contracts state the company will complete construction within 21 working days of delivering all material to the site. They want a 70% deposit of the project cost up front. Peter Boshoff paid a deposit of 50,000 rand on the 13th of July this year. His wife, Michelle, says it all started out well.
Initially, the company was very professional. They were very eager to get our business and get our money and get the deposit and get the forms signed and everything. And then straight after that, we had to beg them basically to come onto site and to just install and start with the construction work.
After several months, SA Megastructures dropped off a load of steel at the Boshoff's Vicksburg property and left. The director of SA Megastructures is Robert Michael Boshoff. According to the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission's records, he's the director of 3 companies: SA Megastructures, Opulent Turnkey Projects, and 7th Battalion Protection. Responding to questions through his attorney, the SA Megastructures director says Steyn's case is being litigated and that Peter Boshoff has already been refunded almost 30,000 rand on 14 December. Based on the sheer volume of complaints on various platforms, this is likely just the tip of the iceberg. Michael Apple, Johannesburg.
Stay with us on eNews. Coming up, a new date is set for the Brexit deal vote in the UK Parliament. Welcome back. Edcon CEO Grant Patterson is moving to allay fears of job losses as news of the company's possible collapse gains momentum. The owners of Edgars, CNA and Jet stores have been battling to restructure the business. They now say they're closer to announcing a deal that'll save thousands of jobs. Aviwem Tila has the details.
Retail giants Edcon Holdings could be involved in one of the biggest job losses in South African history. That's if weekend reports are anything to go by. The Sunday Times reports that Edcon has requested 31 of its biggest landlords for a 2-year 41% rent holiday. This in exchange for a 5% stake in the business in a bid to stave off liquidation. This is one of the stores that would close shop if Edcon were to be liquidated. The employees here are part of the 40,000 that would lose their jobs directly, and another 100,000 would feel the pinch indirectly. Its CEO, Grant Patterson, says the company is in discussion to try and remedy the situation and will make an announcement soon. The South African Federation of Trade Unions says if Edcon goes under, it'll be the biggest single job bloodbath in the country's history.
We express shock and disgust, and we pointed out that South Africa's economy, which is now going through a full-blown job loss bloodbath, can ill afford even a single job loss, or can ill afford to add one more person into the 9.8 million or nearly 10 million South Africans that can't find employment opportunities anywhere in the economy.
Edcon Holdings, one South Africa's most profitable retailer, owns Edgars Jet and CNA. Vavi has called on government to step in and help save the 140,000 jobs that are on the line. The retail giant says it's inching closer to reaching a deal to recapitalize the group. Aviwem Tila, Johannesburg.
International news now. More than 40 people have been injured in an explosion at a bar in northern Japan. The blast caused a number of buildings to collapse. One person is in a critical condition. Police are warning about the possibility of another explosion. The cause of the blast is still being investigated. And British Prime Minister Theresa May has announced the vote on her Brexit deal will take place in the 3rd week of January. She's facing resistance in a divided British Parliament. The UK is due to leave the EU on the 29th of March next year.
Another vote which would do irreparable damage to the integrity of our politics, because it would say to millions who trusted in democracy that our democracy does not deliver. Another vote which would likely leave us no further forward than the last. And another vote which would further divide our country at the very moment we should be working to unite it.
Of course, coming up after the break, we'll go live to our weather centre in Cape Town. Louis standing by, and then
Miss Universe is Philippines!
Despite coming in second best, Miss South Africa Tamarin Green had some kind words for her fans and the winner of the Miss Universe pageant. Welcome back. Let's check in with the Weather Centre now. Louis Fernandez is standing by in Cape Town. Louis, one of the lucky ones, I'm going to say, working on this public holiday. What's the weather looking like for the next couple of days?
That's right, Sean. I do count myself lucky along with you. Well, things have been very hot over South Africa for today. Along with that, we've had thunder showers that have developed, especially in the eastern parts of the country. But it's quite a messy picture at the moment because there's lots of cloud in the west. And within this area, showers and even small thunderstorms have also been developing in the last couple of hours. And some of that wet weather is going to hang around into the early parts of tomorrow for the interior of the country. And at the same time, we're going to have an onshore flow bringing some moisture to parts of the west coast. It's already becoming cloudy in these parts, and some light rain is expected for Cape Town and the surrounding areas for the first half of the day. Later on, that area will be clearing up, and then thunderstorms return to the eastern and central parts of the country, and it is going to be an extremely hot day for the Lowveld and the northern interior of KwaZulu-Natal, where some places will climb into the low 40s. Let's take a look at that detailed forecast. In the Northern Cape, very hot once again for some areas with a few thunder showers, but cooler in the west. Springbok 24, 27 degrees for Calvinia. And here we can see that rain that's expected for some areas in the Western Cape. As mentioned, mostly in the morning. The afternoon should be quite dry. Extremely hot for some parts of the Eastern Cape. Somerset East and Adelaide, 40 degrees as your maximum temperature. PE 32, but it's going to start cooling down quickly in your area. And a very hot day is expected for KwaZulu-Natal, 40 in Ulundi, 38 degrees for Richards Bay, but there will be some thunder shower activity in the province as well. That extreme heat extends into the Lowveld, where Skukuza gets to 42 degrees. Please do take care in those extreme high temperatures. Drink some water, stay out of the midday sun, and try to keep as cool as possible. In Limpopo, a couple of thunder showers in this province, but it stays very dry in the eastern parts along with those high temperatures. Another hot day for the northwest, where temperatures climb into the mid-30s, but there will be thunder showers around, and similar for the Free State, with Bethlehem climbing to a maximum of 30 degrees. And you might have guessed it, it's going to be another hot day in Gauteng, along with a few isolated storms. Let's take a quick look ahead to what you can expect for Wednesday, and there'll be thunder showers in the eastern parts of the country where it stays hot, as well as a few showers for some areas along the Cape coastline. And while those areas become hotter and drier, we'll see a cooling trend for KwaZulu-Natal with lots of cloud and some rain. That's all from me, Shahan. It's back to you.
All right, thanks so much for that, Louis. Appreciate it. And guys, it's going to be hot, so Louis says drink water. Water, water, and nothing else. And finally, Miss South Africa Tamron Green was crowned runner-up in the Miss Universe contest in Thailand this weekend. Miss Philippines was named this year's winner.
South Africans were hoping for Miss SA Tamron Green to go all the way, especially since outgoing queen Demile Nell Peters was there to crown her successor. But it wasn't to be for the 24-year-old when it came down to the final announcement. Miss Philippines Katronia Gray walked away with the big prize. Green thanked her fans and had a few words of encouragement for the new Miss Universe.
All right, our top stories before we go. A crackdown on KwaZulu-Natal's roads and beaches as thousands go to the coast this festive season. And Edcon restructures to save around 140,000 jobs. From me, Shahan Ramkisoon, and the rest of the team, good night.